There's a thin line developers must walk when creating a new installment for a series like SOCOM. If they change too much of the core mechanics, fans will feel betrayed. But if they don't change enough, the same fans will complain that the new game is just a giant expansion pack with some new maps and a new story. Zipper Interactive walked that line with SOCOM 4, and it's obvious fans view the upgrades as an oversimplification to this strategic shooter. But does that make the game any less enjoyable?
So, you have a plan B, Commander?
SOCOM 4 is a third-person strategic shooter. Before that strategic shooter phrase scares you off, know that if you've never played this style of game, you'll be able to pick up the basics pretty easily. You lead a pair of teams through Southeast Asia during a rebel uprising. You'll call out orders to your teams by using the D-pad. You can tell one team to flank while holding your other team back to provide cover. It's an easy-to-use system that puts you in control. You can get through most of the game by just using your team as supportive guns. Your AI-controlled teammates do a pretty good job of following your lead, and they take it upon themselves to revive fallen comrades. The enemy AI is also impressive. In later levels, if you decide not to take charge of your team, the enemies will take advantage of your position and create quite the mess. The single-player campaign follows a decent yet convoluted story. Normally this isn't something that would bother me, but Zipper emphasized the importance of SOCOM 4's story. For me, there wasn't enough character development, and I never really cared about the objective of the overall mission. You play most of the game as Colin Gray, a NATO operations commander. The overall goal is to stop this rebel uprising, but there are some twists along the way that are intended to give the player some surprises. I never really bought into it though. During stealth missions, you play as 45, a member of the South Korean Special Forces team. These stealth levels are a good break, but they can be frustrating and slow to the point that they don't really work towards the end of the game. There's quite a bit to do outside of the single-player campaign, so once you beat the 14 missions, you'll want to hop into some co-op or competitive multiplayer modes. I had a blast in co-op simply because playing as a team and communicating via headset really highlights the strategic nature of SOCOM. You can string a series of missions together to create a mini-campaign, and you have control over the volume and difficulty of your enemies. Mission objectives and enemy positioning are completely random, so you should get a new experience each time you play. The game has certainly seen some changes from its previous installments, but you can play in classic mode if you aren't crazy about these changes. Playing against real-life opponents is a blast, but I found quite a few issues with lag and bugs during my competitive review period. These issues could be worked out before launch, but it's hard to make any solid comments about this side of multiplayer. I will say the new Bomb Squad mode is a lot of fun. The Special Ops team gets a bomb technician, and the team must work together to escort the technician so he can defuse bombs scattered throughout the map. The technician carries heavy weapons and armor, so he moves much slower than everyone else in the match. This again is a great way to highlight the game's focus on strategy. There are 10 maps that are large and varied, and other game modes include Suppression, with map control objectives, and Last Defense, which is a take on the classic demolition and control game modes from previous entries. The game looks and sounds great. Bear McCreary's soundtrack is top-notch, and the character models are generally pretty solid. The environments are not all that varied, but they are extremely detailed. You'll find destructible cover, the ability to go first person with certain scopes, melee combat, and tons of giant battles. SOCOM 4's accessibility will inevitably piss off a lot of its longtime fans. And while they may have rights to feel betrayed, the game is extremely solid and has few major problems. It may seem bland to some, but if you like playing a game with some friends online, then this is worth checking out. Sure, there's health regeneration, character movement is slow, and the aiming mechanics have changed, but that doesn't mean the game is bad, it's just changing for a new and growing audience of gamers. For more info on SOCOM 4, including our official review, check out psu.com.